I'm going to tell you something I see all the time. People assume that once you earn enough money, buying a home becomes easy. It actually doesn't. In fact, some of the most financially successful people I've worked with are also some of the most uncomfortable buyers. Recently, I worked with a client. Great income, excellent credit, strong savings, stable career. On paper, this person looked like the ideal borrower. But every time we got closer to making a decision, there was hesitation. Not because they couldn't afford the home, because they were afraid of what would happen after they bought it. And if you spend time on Reddit or social media, you've seen similar comments too. People saying, I make six figures and I'm still nervous. The payment works, but it feels scary. I don't know why I can't seem to pull the trigger. Those comments are more common than you think. Behavioral economics call this loss aversion, and it's one of the strongest forces that affects financial decisions. Our brains feel losses more intensely than gains. In other words, the possibility of losing money hurts more than a possibility of building wealth feels good. Imagine two scenarios. Scenario one, you buy a home and build equity. Or scenario two, you buy a home and discover 6 months later that rates fell or prices softened. Which one occupies your mind? For most people, scenario two. Even if scenario one is far more likely to impact your long-term finances. So why do high earners struggle? There's another reason this happens. The higher your income becomes, the more responsibility you carry. You worked hard for your savings. You worked hard for your career. You don't want to make a mistake. So what looks like indecision is often caution. And caution isn't bad, but there's a difference between being cautious and expecting certainty. Because certainty doesn't exist, not in real estate, not in investing, not in life. So do what confident buyers do. The buyers that move forward confidently aren't the ones that know exactly what the market will do. They're the ones who understand their situation. They know their comfortable payment, their goals, their timeline, their risk tolerance. And that's enough. So where do most people get stuck? Many buyers think, if I just do more research, I'll be ready. But sometimes more research creates more anxiety. Because now you're consuming economics, realtors, TikTok creators, YouTube experts, Reddit opinions, and many of them disagree. So you're not gaining clarity, you're gaining more noise. What I've learned after years in this business is that most buyers don't need another market prediction. They need a framework. Because confidence doesn't come from knowing the future. It comes from understanding your situation and knowing your options. My job isn't to tell people to buy. Sometimes I tell people to wait. Sometimes I tell people to keep renting. Sometimes I tell people to pay off debt first. The goal isn't a mortgage. The goal is to help someone make a decision they can feel good about long after closing. So if you're someone who's thinking, I can afford it, but it still feels uncomfortable, that doesn't automatically mean you're not ready. It may simply mean that you're human. The key is understanding whether you're responding to facts or fear. And that's a very different conversation.